Peace, guys. It is Spooky Noodles. I am here with a movie review. Let's scratch that first thing I said. I'm here with a movie review, and I know you guys are probably sick of these movie reviews. Ever since I started the movie reviews, my subscribers dropped a little bit. I mean, they've slowly kind of gained a little bit more as the days followed, but I lost like 5 subscribers. And I don't know if it's because of my movie reviews, because I know a lot of people hate when these book channels become movie channels. I don't know. I just wanted to take a break from reading for a little bit and watch some movies. Is all that really happened. But I've read a little bit today. Don't worry about that. I'm still reading. Today I took a break from Bad Brains by Kathy Koja and started reading Skins by Wrath James White. I'm on page 16, and it's actually pretty good. I didn't know what to expect from Wrath James White. I really didn't know what to expect. But so far, I'm really digging the story. People said, don't start with this story. Don't start with this story. This story stinks. Well, they didn't say it stinks, but they said compared to his other works, this one isn't as, like, to par. But the story sounds like, the synopsis makes the story sound great. And, I mean, how could you not pass up Nazi beating, like, I just enjoy the thought of beating up Nazis. So, you know, it's a good book so far. It starts off with the prologue, which is a big fight scene, but we're not here to talk about my read of Skins so far. I'm 8% through the book, which is 16 pages, which isn't really 16 since it actually starts on page 5. There's just, I don't know why. I feel like someone cut some pages out of my copy, because there's a bunch of scissor marks everywhere. But it actually, for me, starts on page 5. So I've really only read like 11 pages. I've read like about 5 pages today. I'm going to continue after I do this movie review. But you might ask yourself, what'd you watch? Well, if you looked in the title, you realize what I watched. But I watched In the Mouth of Madness. This movie, let me read the synopsis for you real quick. Imagine a novel so tremendously horrifying that it paralyzes its audience with fear. When the author disappears, an investigator hired to find the writer discovers far more than he imagined. Now, I just figured this out. Don't freak out at me, guys. But I just learned just now that this is by John Carpenter, which blows my mind because John Carpenter wrote some of my favorite movies. And no wonder why I like this movie, because it's directed by John Carpenter. But you don't know. So far, every time I watch a John Carpenter film, I seem to love it. I loved The Thing. I loved Halloween. So just figuring out now that In the Mouth of Madness is directed by sorry, I'm so used to doing book reviews that I should be used to doing movie reviews because I've been doing so many. But directed by John Carpenter, and yeah, I adored it. I want to put it on my top 5, but my top 5 is so crammed with good movies. It's really hard to put, like, let me think about my top 5 for a second, because right now I'm trying to remember what number 5 is. Number 1 is The Thing, 2 is Aliens, or Alien, my bad, not Aliens. Aliens stunk, if you ask me. It's more action than horror, and I didn't enjoy Aliens that much, but Alien was one of the best horror movies ever, in my opinion. It's number 2 on my list. Number 3 is The Fly. 4 is They Live. And then 5 is Scanners. So I have to ask myself, it's obviously not, in my opinion, not better than They Live. They Live should be higher on the list, but unfortunately The Fly, The Thing, and Alien, not in that order, are better. Just my opinion. They Live was amazing. It was actually more action than horror. I don't even know if it was horror at all. But it goes in my favorite horror movies anyways, because the concept's pretty horrifying. So and there's great visuals. So it has one of the best kick-ass action scenes ever when he walks into the bank and goes, I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. And then he just I probably jacked up that line, but then he goes and shoots all the people that are aliens. But anyways, I would have to ask myself if it's better than Scanners. Now, this movie was so Lovecraftian, it was crazy. I love the concept of this movie. It just feels like an H.P. Lovecraft story, only better. I enjoyed this movie a lot, and the ending kind of had me laughing with the guy who was going crazy. But I would love to see the aftermath of that movie. Like, what would come after that? Like, if they made a movie of the aftermath of Sutter Kane's book, that would be amazing. I would watch the crap out of it. This movie was 5 stars for sure. Every time I'm trying to think, does it outdo Scanners for my top 5 favorite movies of all time? It's hard. It's really hard to think, because Scanners was really good. The acting was not the greatest, but the story itself and the plot, it was just amazing. This one had brilliant characters, a great story, and a great ending. It just had great everything. So I think it just barely beats Scanners. So I think I have a new number 5, and that is In the Mouth of Madness, directed by John Carpenter. It has a famous actor in it. The famous actor... This one is considered horror. So unlike They Live, who I don't know what it is... this got a rated R? This got an R rating. That's crazy. I didn't think of this as a, R film. I don't remember who acted in this movie. I'm looking at Amazon right now. In the Mouth of Madness. John Trent, who is Sam Neill. I think that's how you say his name. So it has that famous person in it. And then I don't know if the other person is as famous, but it had a really cool chick in it. It seemed to have made a lot of money in the... Actually, it didn't reach its budget. That's kind of crazy. Its budget was $14 million, and at the box office it made $8.9 million. So I wonder if this was a flop of a movie? I mean, I loved it, and it has a good rating on IMDb, but on Rotten Tomatoes it has a 59%. But from my knowledge, this is a great movie. I loved it so much. I don't want to give too much away about the movie, because then I'll ruin the whole thing for you. If I just point out one scene that I like, it will probably ruin it for you. But there's one thing that I wish they expanded on. It was a small thing, but it was a really brilliant the way they did it. There was a lot of things in it that I wish they would have expanded on. But it has a runtime of like an hour and 50 minutes. So I guess they didn't have enough time to rifle out through everything. But it felt like a bunch of, like a collection of H.P. Lovecraft stories put into one movie that has one ultimate plot line, where it has like several... It's kind of weird to talk about. There's like... I don't want to give anything away, so it's hard for me to talk about it. But there's this one scene with the old lady, and I'm not gonna give too much away, but I realized immediately who the lady's from. I remember her from an Adam Sandler I remember her from Happy Gilmore. That's it. I remember her, the old lady from Happy Gilmore. So I immediately had a smile on my face when I saw her, but then things turned dark. So yeah, that was kind of funny for me. That's not the intention of the film, but That's what I got out of it. I was like, I know her. She's from Happy Gilmore, you know? So, yeah. But, it was, this movie, I'm just saying that scene with the grandma was pretty good. I liked it. Everyone did a phenomenal job in this movie. The effects were good. When you saw the Lovecraftian monsters, those were cool. I wish there was more of that in some places. There was amazing stuff in this book, or movie. And I wish I could read the Sutter Kane books that were in this movie. The covers for them were amazing, so I would love to read the Sutter Kane books. But it was just a great movie with a great end, with a great twist, and the whole time you're wondering, is this guy crazy? Because that's the question they give you in the beginning of the movie. Is this guy crazy? So you see him in the beginning get thrown into a padded room in a straitjacket. That's where the movie begins. Then it alters to you don't know if it's a different time or not. You don't know what happens with him getting thrown. Like, he gets thrown into a padded room, then the next scene he's talking to this one guy about being hired to find an author. So you don't know what's going on in the beginning of the movie, but you get this gist that this guy, you are given this question: is this guy crazy or is this guy insane? And you watch the whole movie and you're flip-flopping on the idea: is he crazy? Is he not crazy? You know, he seems to be a rational dude, but the whole movie, I was thinking at least, with the question they gave in the beginning of the film, was, is he crazy? So I'm not going to give it up to you. You're questioning that all the way through the end, till the end of the movie, when they finally give you the answer. And even then, you don't know if it's true or not. So that's all I'm going to say about this movie. In the Mouth of Madness was amazing. I don't know if it's actually based on an H.P. Lovecraft story, and if it is, then that's awesome. There's a portrait that I don't know. There's just so much stuff that was good about this movie. It was so Lovecraftian, and I love that. I love watching Lovecraftian movies. I'm not the biggest fan of Lovecraft, but I love the genre that he has produced. You know, like I had my Lovecraft craze or phase. I own this Necronomicon that is leather bound, and I think it's leather bound, and it has a bunch of his, not all of his stories, but a huge chunk of his work. And I've read and listened to most of it. If you don't know, there's this guy on YouTube named or his YouTube channel is Horror Babble, and he has this British accent, and he is perfect for H.P. Lovecraft stories or Lovecraftian tales. Like, he does stuff by Clark Ashton Smith, who I believe is much better than H.P. Lovecraft. I, in fact, own some... I done a collection video, actually, on Clark Ashton Smith. I own most of his work, Clark Ashton Smith's work. I've only listened to his work through Horror Babble, but I hope to change that one day. I have been looking out for more Lovecraftian stories. Like, I have recently heard, due to, I don't remember his YouTube channel. I want to give him a shout out, but I think his YouTube channel is Book Dweller. Let me look real quick, because I want to be correct. No, not the Book Dweller. I like his channel too, don't get me wrong. But, what is his YouTube channel? Hold on, I'm gonna scroll down my, Bookworm of the Damned. That's his name. Bookworm of the Damned. So go check out his channel. He recently did a video, a book review of The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Lavelle. And, it sounds amazing. His review is really in-depth, much more in-depth than my reviews. So if you haven't checked him out, he gets just as much views as I do, and that blows my mind because his quality of work is much better than mine. and he talks about the books and asks you questions and makes you think, and he's a great YouTuber. Now that I got that out of the way, he suggested reading The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Lavelle. That's a Lovecraftian tale where this I'm not going to give anything away because I haven't read it yet, but basically the gist of the story is this black guitarist, I think that's what he is, he is hired to play at this rich guy's house, and it turns out instead of playing for a party of guests, he's playing for a cult, and basically things go down. I don't know what happened. I have yet to read it. I'm going to listen to the audiobook as soon as I can. Right now, I'm listening to the book just to listen to it. Don't get me wrong, but if I can get to it this month, which I probably won't because the month is almost over, I will. I'm definitely listening to it regardless. But I would like to listen to it for Black History Month. I've done a horrible job at reading this month. It was more of a movie month, to be honest, but I didn't do any reading, to be honest. I read maybe total 30 pages this month. It was a horrible month for reading. That's maybe. I don't even know if I hit 30. Like today, I read 5. And that's the most I've read in a long time. So it's been a flatline book reading and writing, because my writing's been suffering as well. It has not been a good month, period, for me. January was fabulous. I got 4 books read. I did a lot of reviews, and I did a lot of writing. So it was a really progressive month in January. This month I've been helping my family out more, and every time I have the chance to read or write, I've been watching movies. So I'm gonna try to stop this movie watching craze that I have going on, and I'm gonna start focusing on my writing more, and definitely want to be reading more. I put down Bad Brains by Kathy Koja, not because it's bad, but because I'm 50% through it, and I decided I'm not gonna have enough time to actually read a black author for Black History Month. So I decided to put my Lady of Horror Fiction book down, because I'm halfway through it, to read Skins by Wrath James White, which I think I mentioned in the beginning of this video. This book is good so far. I'm on chapter 1. I just got through the prologue, and like I said, a great book. But it's nothing. Why I bring this up is because Victor Lavelle is also black, and I want to get into his work before this month ends. So I'm listening to an audiobook, which, forgive me, I don't know the race, or all I know is Rick Hatula, I think is his name, Hatula. I'm probably wrong, but he made a book called The Unsigachunk. I think that's how you say the name of the book. I think it's Unsigachunk. Unsigahunk. My bad. I got it wrong. By Rick Hatala. Hatala? Anyways, I'm 2 hours into this book, audiobook, and it's actually a collection, sorta. It has the full-length novel of Little Brothers, and then it has another little novella that is based on the novel Little Brothers. I don't know if it's a preceding book, if it takes place before Little Brothers or whatnot, but right now I'm just listening to Little Brothers, the book, and then it will go into maybe it's a book of the aftermath, or maybe it's a prologue to the book. I don't know, but it's whatever it is, it's coming after Little Brothers. So I'm technically listening to Little Brothers by Rick Hawitala. I don't know how to say his name. I'm not even gonna pretend I know how to say his name. Rick H. He wrote this book, and I am listening to it. I honestly, it was the only book that would download at the time. So I just listened to it while I was raking leaves for a good like 30 minutes. And then I listened to it to the car ride home. I listened to it a little bit last night. I listened to it a little bit today. It's 19 hours long, so I doubt I'm gonna get to the Ballad of Black Tom. But forgive me for reading or listening to him, because it's literally the only audiobook that would load at the time or download. So, and just to show you, I do have two Victor LaValle books loaded on my not loaded, but on my Audible. I have bought both of them. I used a credit for The Devil in Silver, and I just bought The Ballad of Black Tom because of Bookworm of the Dam's review on it. I have also The Nickel Boys, which I got 2 hours into it, and I want to re-listen to it because I don't feel like I give it an honest chance. I flat out did not give it a chance. So I want to give it it's deserving. I was just trying to finish a book really quickly, so I was listening to the book as I was writing, and I really got into my writing at the time, and I didn't give the book a chance. I didn't even listen to it really. I was just writing while it was in the background. So I'm going to give it another shot. I hear Colson Whitehead is an amazing author, and I really wanted to do a review for you guys for Black History Month, but I just did not get to it. So a lot of the Black History Month reviews will be happening next month. I will have Wrath James White, Skins, which is like the perfect book to read during Black History Month because it has to deal with race, you know, and the prejudices and all that stuff. So does Nickel Boys, but this one does it in a different way. And then The Ballad of Black Tom is a Lovecraftian take from a black man, so it's gotta be amazing. And in the beginning of the book, the Bookworm of the Damned says that Victor LaValle says, "With my conflicted feelings towards you," and blah blah blah. I don't remember how he says it verbatim, but Victor LaValle, even though Lovecraft is a racist, a really bad racist in that matter, like everyone was really racist back in the day, but H.P. Lovecraft took it to another level, and that's not cool. He was part of the problem. If you ask me, H.P. Lovecraft, I don't like spending money on anything H.P. Lovecraft anymore due to the fact that he was so racist. I had no idea how racist he was. I was just listening to some of his classics, you know, and liking them. Then when I found out he was racist, I felt disgusted, you know, and I felt gross for owning anything H.P. Lovecraft. I know that the times were different back then, but he was extra racist, you know? He was, like, feeding for other people to be more racist. And it showed in some of his works, but I didn't read the stories that it really showed in. Like, sure, it was in everything, really, but, I didn't recognize it when I first read through it, but now it's completely evident. I mean, the dude had a cat who he named the N-word. I know people hate when people say the N-word, but I'm not gonna say the word because I don't want to frustrate people. But I also don't want to say the N-word because that's just saying the word without saying it, and it's really stupid. But anyways, I'm just saying that to show. I'm just gonna get in trouble no matter what. I've backed myself into a corner. But basically what I'm saying is Lovecraft, horrible person, but this movie, In the Mouth of Madness, was very Lovecraftian, and the reason why I brought all that stuff up, and it's been 10 minutes since I brought everything up, is the fact that Lovecraftian stories are awesome, regardless of Lovecraft himself. Lovecraft himself was not awesome. Sure, he might have changed his ways when he got older, but he didn't get the chance to get older. But it's really hard to tell if he would have changed. Like, there was authors from that era that changed their views when when like Martin Luther King and people like that started coming forward, and people started changing their minds because you had these great men who altered history. And if it wasn't for those great men, a lot of people would still be racist today. So that's a great thing. But my point is that Lovecraftian work is amazing. I love the Lovecraft, like cosmic horror. I just love it. And this movie was amazing. And what I was trying to say with all the rambling that I went through, because this should have been a 6-minute video, now it's over 25 minutes. The fact that I want to get to is that Lovecraft work rocks. Not Lovecraft himself, but Lovecraft work. Like, things that are based on it. Like Clark Ashton Smith's work. Robert Bloch made some Lovecraftian works, stories. And Robert Bloch wrote one of my favorite books of all time, Psycho. Even though it's no longer my favorite book of all time, it's fallen down the list quite a bit. But it got me into horror, and I will always thank Robert Bloch for getting me into horror. Same with Stephen King. Even though Stephen King and Robert Bloch aren't my favorite horror authors, Ron Kelly and Kathy Koja currently are. Even though they aren't my favorite horror authors, I greatly appreciate them for what they did. I do the same for H.P. Lovecraft. If it wasn't for H.P. Lovecraft, I probably wouldn't fallen in love with sci-fi horror or sci-fi anything. So I thank H.P. Lovecraft for that, but I have conflicted feelings towards him. And I love anything H.P. Lovecraft related stuff, so I'm going to love The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor LaValle. I just know I'm going to like it because I've heard 2 outstanding reviews based on it, and I just can't wait to read it. And then there's another book that I recently got called, I haven't gotten it yet, but I bought it. It's called Down by the Farm by John Sture. And no, I didn't say that weirdly. That's his name, Stchur, John Sture. If I'm saying it wrong, then let me know, but I'm pretty sure I'm saying his name right. John Sture. John Sture. John Sture. Anyways, Stephen King left an excellent blurb, even though I know Stephen King blurbs are as truthful and honest as Hitler saying he loves the Jews. Okay, that made no sense. I'm not really good at analogies or metaphors or whatever I'm trying to get at, but probably the first one. I didn't have to mention everything else, but I'm not good at these things. So, but just know that Stephen King's blurbs or his quotes that are always on top of some 80s books or 90s books usually are not true. And I don't know if this book's gonna stink or not, but Stephen King says John Sture turns Michigan into Lovecraft country. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that weird. I'll say it again. John Sture turns Michigan into Lovecraft country. And that blurb alone makes me want to buy the book. I'm a huge Michigan native, so I love anything that takes place in Michigan or is written by Michigan authors like Knuckle Supper by Drew Steppick. I loved Knuckle Supper, and I can't wait to read the sequel, even though I think it's going to be produced by Chilling Tales for Dark Nights. And I probably want to wait till that comes out because the narration for that kicks ass. But I own the book, so I did give my money to the author, so he's not just, producing stuff for free listening. But I really hope people start. He's from Royal Oak, and I love Royal Oak. That's where I was born. So, yeah. But that's besides the point. I got this book, Down by the Farm by John Sture, which is supposedly going to be a Michigan Lovecraftian tale. So I could not pass that up. I had to get that. So The Ballad of Black Tom is a Lovecraftian story. Down by the Farm by John Sture is a Lovecraftian story. And all the stories I've read and listened to up to this point that are Lovecraftian, I've pretty much loved them all. So I can't wait to get into more Lovecraftian stuff. This is why I brought all that up, is because this movie is very Lovecraftian, and I loved it a lot. If you guys have any more Lovecraftian's type of work or style of work, I would love to hear it in the comments below, because I would love to check out more movies that are Lovecraftian, because there's not enough of those. I heard there was a movie recently, like Under the Water or something like that. I don't remember what the movie was called, but it had to do with water and being under it. So it has Kristen Stewart in it. So a lot of people were kind of iffy on the fact that it had Kristen Stewart on it, but I hear she did a rockin' job, so I really want to watch the movie. It's very supposedly Lovecraftian, so I can't wait to watch it. I forget what the movie's called, so I'm probably going to look it up after this, and probably if it's out on Amazon, I'll probably purchase it, but we'll see. More things to talk about. It's a Lovecraftian movie, and I loved In the Mouth of Madness. I knew I was gonna mess this up eventually. It was a great movie. I gave it 5 stars. I recommend you watch it. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you're having a good day, a spooky night. I'll catch you in the next video, guys. Peace out.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of